What if the one person everyone quietly judged turned out to be the one who could change everything overnight? This is a story about assumptions, respect, and a moment that no one in that showroom would ever forget. At exactly 10:45 a.m., an elderly man slowly walked toward one of the most luxurious car dealerships in the city, Prestige Auto Gallery. He didn't look like the usual customers. A plain white button-down shirt, faded khaki pants, and an old canvas messenger bag resting on his shoulder. Nothing about him suggested wealth, but there was something else. Something far more noticeable. A quiet confidence. A calm, almost unshakable peace. Inside the showroom, everything sparkled. Luxury cars lined the floors, sleek, polished, and flawless, each one carrying a price tag that most people could only dream of. As the elderly man stepped through the glass doors, a security guard quickly moved in front of him. "Sir, this area is for customers only. You might want to wait outside." The old man didn't seem offended. Instead, he smiled gently. "My son, I am a customer. I'd like to take a look at a car." The guard glanced at his colleague. A quiet chuckle turned into open laughter, but the man didn't react. He simply stood there, calm as ever. Just then, a sharp, confident voice echoed from inside. "What's happening here?" A woman in a sleek black suit walked toward them. Her name was Olivia Carter, one of the top sales executives in the ASD. Showroom professional, confident, and used to dealing with high-end clients. She took one look at the elderly man and paused. There was a hint of doubt in her expression. "Sir," she said politely, but with distance, "this dealership specializes in luxury vehicles." "Right." The old man nodded. "I understand. That's exactly why I'm here." Olivia raised an eyebrow. "And what exactly are you looking for?" The man replied without hesitation. "I'd like to see the most expensive car you have." For a brief moment, everything went quiet. Then Olivia let out a soft, amused smile. "Our most premium model is the Aurelian Z9, she said. "It's priced at around $400,000. The man simply replied, "That's fine. I'd like to see it." Curious and slightly entertained, Olivia turned to her colleague. "Daniel, would you uncover the Z9? Daniel hesitated for a second, then followed the instruction. As the cover was lifted, the car beneath it gleamed under the lights, sleek lines, perfect finish. A true masterpiece of engineering. The elderly man stepped closer. His eyes moved slowly across the surface, as if he truly understood what he was looking at. Then he said softly, "I'd like to hear the engine." This time Daniel shook his head. "I'm sorry, sir. This model isn't for demonstration. It's a showroom display." The man didn't argue. Instead, he calmly said, "Then perhaps I should speak with your manager." That request clearly shifted the mood. Olivia sighed lightly and made a quick call. Moments later, she returned. "Our manager is currently unavailable," she said. "You can come back another day." The old man nodded. "That's all right," and he added quietly, "When the time is right, we'll meet." Instead of leaving, he walked over to a chair and sat down. Minutes passed, then more minutes. The showroom remained busy, clients arriving, conversations flowing, deals being made, but the old man simply waited. No frustration, no impatience, just quiet patience. After some time, a young employee approached him. His name was Ethan Brooksa, new junior sales associate. He spoke gently. "Sir, is there anything I can help you with?" The old man smiled. "I just wanted to meet your manager, son." Ethan hesitated. There was something different about this man. Something he couldn't explain. "I'll try," he said. Inside the office, the manager, Richard Coleman, was focused on his laptop. Ethan spoke carefully. "Sir, there's an elderly gentleman outside. He says he's interested in a car." Richard didn't even look up. "We get people like that all the time," he replied. "Your job is to focus on serious buyers." Ethan paused. "But sir," what if Richard cut him off? "That's enough." "Handle it," Ethan returned, slightly uncomfortable. "I'm sorry, sir." He's not available right now. The old man nodded. I understand. Then, slowly, he reached into his bag and pulled out a sealed envelope. He handed it to Ethan. Give this to your manager, but only when he's alone. Ethan looked puzzled. What is it? The man smiled. You'll understand soon. There was something about that moment. Something that stayed with Ethan. The envelope felt unusually heavy in his hand. About 30 minutes later, the showroom finally quieted down. Richard Coleman was alone in his office. Taking a deep breath, Ethan walked in and handed over the envelope. Richard opened it casually, but as he began to read, his expression changed. The confidence in his face faded, replaced by something else. Shock. He read the name again. Nathaniel Rutherford. And in that instant, everything clicked. Valoran Holdings, the corporation behind the entire dealership, and Nathaniel Rutherford was one of its founding partners. A man who had stayed away from the public eye for years. Richard immediately called Olivia into his office. She read the letter, and her face turned pale. Wait, are you saying? Richard nodded slowly. That man is one of the owners of this company? Silence filled the room. The weight of their actions suddenly became very real. They hadn't just ignored someone. They had completely misjudged him. Richard took a deep breath. Trying to regain control? It's just a warning, he said. We still have time to fix this. But deep down, he knew something important had already been decided, because sometimes in life, the biggest tests don't come with announcements. They arrive quietly, disguised as ordinary moments, and the next morning at 10 a.m., they would finally learn that how you treat people can change everything. Victor Coleman leaned back in his chair, a confident smirk on his face. It's an old trick, he said calmly. It always works. Across the room, Olivia Carter stayed silent. She had worked with Victor long enough to know his confidence often crossed into something far more dangerous. Outside the office, standing quietly near the slightly open door, Ethan Brooks had heard everything, every word, every plan. His hand slowly clenched. A thought echoed in his mind. They made a mistake yesterday, and today they're trying to hide it. That night, Ethan didn't go home. Instead, he stayed in the showroom's break room. The building was quiet, empty, still, sitting in front of a computer. He opened the official website of Valoran Holdings. His fingers hovered over the keyboard for a moment. Then, he started typing subject, internal report regarding Mr. Nathaniel Rutherford's visit message. Dear Sir, today an elderly gentleman visited our showroom and identified himself as Mr. Rutherford. Unfortunately, he was not treated with the level of professionalism our company stands for. I believe it is important that the truth reaches you directly. Sincerely. Ethan Brooks Jr., sales associate. He read it once, took a deep breath, and clicked send. His heart raced, but at the same time, he felt something lift off his chest. For the first time that day, he felt at peace. The next morning, at exactly 10 a.m., the same elderly man returned, but this time, he wasn't alone. For black SUVs pulled up behind him. Doors opened. Several professionals in formal suits stepped out. The atmosphere shifted. Instantly, the security guard froze. Olivia and Daniel exchanged stunned glances, and inside his office, Victor Coleman felt something he hadn't felt in a long time: uncertainty. The elderly man walked in, but today, his presence was different, stronger, commanding. Double quotes. Where is Mr. Coleman? He asked. His voice was calm but carried undeniable authority. The entire showroom fell silent. Victor stepped out slowly, forcing a smile. Good morning, Mr. Rutherford, he said. Yesterday was just a misunderstanding before he could finish. Nathaniel Rutherford raised his hand, and the room went completely still. The issue isn't a misunderstanding, he said quietly. It's leadership. Victor's voice faltered. Sir, I assure you, Rutherford stepped forward. When someone walks in without luxury clothing, Do you immediately decide they don't belong? No one spoke. Not a single word. Rutherford looked around the showroom. Every employee stood, still heads lowered. This place, he said slowly, I helped build it 20 years ago. His voice carried both pride and disappointment. We started small, just a handful of cars. And a simple idea, he paused, that every person, no matter how they look, would be treated with respect. Then his tone changed, slightly colder. But somewhere along the way, that idea was forgotten. Victor swallowed hard. Sir, please, give us another chance. Rutherford looked directly at him. Difficult days don't create character, he said. They reveal it. One of the executives beside him placed a tablet on the desk. Sir, we reviewed the showroom footage from yesterday. Victor's face went pale. I've seen everything, Rutherford continued. The laughter, the dismissal, the lack of basic courtesy. You let the silence sit. Is that what this brand represents now? Victor lowered his head. I was wrong. Rutherford didn't respond immediately. Then he said firmly, now it's time to make it right. He turned his gaze toward the back of the room. Ethan, step forward. Ethan froze for a second, then slowly walked ahead. Rutherford smiled slightly. This young man chose honesty over convenience. He didn't hide the truth. He respected it. Quiet murmurs spread across the staff. Olivia looked at Ethan, realizing what he had done. Rutherford turned back to Victor. The most junior employee in your team showed the highest level of professionalism, and he opened a document, his voice clear. Final, as of today. The management structure of Prestige Auto Gallery will change. Victor Coleman, you are being reassigned effective immediately. The room held its breath. You will spend the next 6 months working in the service department. Rutherford continued, not as punishment, but as perspective, to understand what real service truly means. Victor closed his eyes briefly, then nodded. Rutherford turned to Olivia. You will continue in your role in probation? One more chance. Olivia lowered her head. I understand, sir. Then Rutherford looked at Ethan. Ethan Brooks. From today, you are the assistant general manager. The room went still again. Ethan blinked. I'm just starting my career, Rutherford smiled. And yet, you already understand something many don't. Integrity. Ethan took a deep breath. I'll do my best, sir. Rutherford gave one final glance around the showroom. A brand's true value isn't in its products. It's in how people treat each other. And with that, he walked out. Time skipped to 3 weeks later. Everything had changed. The atmosphere felt different. Warmer, more respectful, more human. Ethan, now in leadership, remained. It's the same person. Still humble, still approachable every morning. He stood quietly in the same spot where Rutherford once sat, a silent reminder of the day everything changed. One afternoon, Olivia approached him. Ethan, you've been called to Valorant headquarters. Later that day, inside a towering glass building, Ethan stepped into the CEO office. Nathaniel Rutherford sat waiting. I've been reviewing reports, Rutherford said. Your name keeps coming up. For the right reasons? Ethan smiled nervously. I'm just doing my job. Rutherford leaned forward slightly. I've decided to step back. Gradually, Ethan's eyes widened. But before I do, Rutherford continued, I need someone I can trust. He slid a file across the desk. The Valorant Foundation. I want you to lead it. Ethan was speechless. Why me? He asked softly. Rutherford smiled. Because you didn't chase position. You stood by your values. Ethan nodded slowly. I won't let you down. Meanwhile, down in the service department, Victor worked quietly. No ego, no complaints, just focus. One day, Ethan walked in. Hey, Victor. Victor looked up surprised. It's been a while. Ethan smiled. I'm not here to replace you, just continuing what I learned. Victor gave a small nod. And I finally learned something too. He paused. You judge people by character, not appearance. They shook hands. A moment of understanding. Final scene that evening. As Ethan walked out of the showroom, he noticed a familiar car parked outside, an old black vintage Ford. On its hood, a small envelope. Inside, a single line. Stay the same person you were. Before the world noticed you. Nathaniels Rutherford. Ethan smiled, looked out at the city lights, and quietly reflected. Because in the end, success may open doors, but it's character that decides who you become.